Hey guys, Lisa with Diamond Design. So this is somewhat of a continuation from my last video. I was showing people how to use parchment paper to replace the clear film that sometimes comes with diamond paintings because a lot of people really don't like working with that, and this makes it easier to work in sections. So as you can see, there's some other stuff in here which I'm going to get to in a minute, but it's now covered completely with parchment paper. So once I go to work on it, I can do it in sections. Now, sometimes you'll get a diamond painting that will only have this on it. Sometimes the DMC numbers, which I'll explain in a minute, won't even be on there. And it'll just be, for example, what you see right here. So 1 through, let's say, 12, and it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, A, C, D, F. In that case, let's say that you were working on a canvas that came with 12 colors. You would get 12 different packets labeled 1 through 12, and you then have to choose your preferred method of storage, label them 1 through 8, and then A, C, D, F, and then bag 1 would go to 1, 2 to 2, all the way down to 8, and then bag number 9 would go into your container labeled A, bag 10 into C, etc. So there's a whole bunch of different ways that people use to store their diamonds. This is actually not my normal go-to. These, if I take one out and show it to you, they're almost like little Tic Tac containers. I've used them before. I don't mind using them. But the ones that I normally work with, I am using right now for another project. And they're basically rows with 4 different compartments on each row. And you can label 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and then they open like this. I will show those in another video, but because I don't have enough of those right now, since I'm working on another project, I went with these. Now, if you notice, first of all, here is the key, which is on the left and on the right side of the canvas. The DMC codes are used because a lot of people, including myself, like to save the diamonds that are left over at the end of their projects. So, for example, with this one, let's go to 150. That's our first color. At the end of this project, we're most likely going to have quite a few, I would say probably 20 to 100 of that color diamond left over. If you figure out a way to store it, and I'll do that in a different video because there's tons of different ways that you can go about storing them. And then let's say later in the future, you get a diamond painting that's missing that color. You can go through your extra ones that you have stored and you can use that as a substitute rather than having to order more, or at least use them until you run out. And then there's a really popular Facebook group called Got Diamonds where you can ask for ones that you need if you run out of like a color or two. And in most cases, people, including myself, if they have extras, will just send them to you free of charge. So, with that being said, this is my preferred method of doing things. What I did here is I looked at where the first letter started, and in this case, they're all in alphabetical order. Now, sometimes you'll get ones that'll have like an A and then a 6 and then like a Z and then a 1, and they'll be all out of order. But these came in number order and then letter order, and then just randomized by symbols at the end because they didn't use all of the letters or numbers, and that's typical of any diamond painting. So what I like to do, and I've already labeled them up so you can see them, is I start with the letters. As you can see, not every letter of the alphabet was used, but that's just the way that this company does it. I then did the numbers and then went on to do the symbols. Now, the reason that some of them look different is because on the previous project that I worked on with this storage method, I already had, you can tell the dark ones, D, F, K, N, R, U, V, W, etc. So the ones that I didn't have, I added new labels onto the little containers. The labels I got on Amazon, I will post the link for them in the description. once I finish this video. So now that I have them labeled up, I want to go over one more thing, and that is if you happen to get an inventory sheet, which I love when they come with them personally, the reason that you see the check marks there are because the first thing that I recommend doing and that I always do when I get a diamond painting is I go through and I make sure that all of the diamonds are accounted for. So what I did is I picked out two colors. 150, which is the first color lifted on there, it says bags to the right, one. There is one bag of the color 150, which means that I have all the total number of bags that I'll need for this project. Now, also, this is something to keep in mind. The color of the diamonds will not always necessarily match exactly to the color that's listed on the symbol. As long as it's relatively close, you should be fine. Now, if you, let's say that the symbol 1 was green and you had red diamonds, then that would probably be an issue. But as long as it's relatively close, you're fine. And then I pulled out 318, if you can see on here. Sometimes you really have to look in the right light. There you go, 318. And then if you look on the inventory sheet, it says that there should be 3 bags of 318. And if you look right here, 1, 2, 3. So what I do when I'm not going to do, I already did it. That's why the check marks are there. So I'm not going to do it on the camera, but I go through every time I get a diamond painting that has one of these sheets in it, and I count every single bag of every single color and put a check mark once I've done it, and I set them aside. And then once I'm done, as long as they're all there, I put them back in the bag, and I have a separate box that I store my beads in. In the event that you get one, so for example, let's say that you needed 8 bags of DMC number 922 and you only had 6 or 7, you would then need to contact the company that you ordered them from, let them know how many bags you're missing, and 9 times out of 10, they will send you whatever it was that you're missing. If they don't, again, you can do the Got Diamonds group, reach out to anybody in there. Any other diamond painting Facebook group, for the most part, if you're only missing a bag or two of, of 2 or 3 colors, they'll be happy to send them to you. Sometimes they'll ask you to pay for, the cost of 1 or 2 stamps or whatever, but usually people are generous and they'll just send them as long as they have extras. So with that being said, now what I'm going to do, and this is the most tedious part, sometimes you'll get a diamond painting where all of one color comes in a Ziploc bag. So for example, instead of having 3 bags of 318, these would be in one Ziploc bag and they'd be measured by weight instead of having like a whole bunch of different bags of one color. And this company in particular, which is the company that I plan on making my new manufacturer, has now switched over to putting them in Ziploc bags rather than the individual bags. So now what I'm about to do, and I'm not going to do this part on camera because it can take a really long time, is so here we go. For example, 150 is number 1. So I'm going to pull number 1, which is right here, out, cut open the bag, dump it into my tray, open this up, and if you look at it, all it is a little flip, like I said, just like a Tic Tac container, and then dump them in there. So what I do when I use these, because they're tiny and the holes they're not like super narrow, but they're also not big, is I put the drills 1 or 2 bags at a time into this tray, then put this here, but usually I'm holding it, but because I have the camera right now, I'm not. And then dump them into the container over a bigger tray so that if any of them fall, I can catch them and then put them back in. Now, just to give you a look at what I'm dealing with, all of these colors have to go into these containers. Now, here's a good example. This is DMC 550. I have 24 bags of these in total. So like there's a lot. They're not all going to fit into 550 is H. So I might be able to get 4 or 5 bags into them, or into this one. So what I'm going to do is get as many of them as I can in. So let's say I pull it out 550 right now and I put it into H. I'll fit as many bags in there as I can, and then I'll set them aside into a pile, because once I'm done, I know that these are a color that I'm going to need to put back in this bag. For the ones that only have 1 bag, 3 bags, 2 bags, like in these examples right here, they're all going to fit. But the ones with, 16, 8, maybe even 6, I believe, if I remember correctly, you can get 5 bags into one of these little containers, but I could be wrong. But the 24 of the 550, 18, 26, things like that, you're going to need to store them. And then what I do is when I run out or when I get really low, I cut open another 4 or 5 bags and dump them in. So I just wanted to give you a brief overview, an example of how to go about setting up a diamond painting when you first get it, what DMC colors mean. And the only other thing I would note on this one is that for people that do store or save their DMC drills, but what, like the extra ones that they have at the end of a project. So let's say 780, you could have 780 drills on this one and then get another diamond painting that uses 780. And when you go to store them, you'll notice that they're not the exact same color. That's because different companies sometimes use different dye lots. Usually they match up, but if they don't and you decide to store them, what I would do in this case, let's say I already have some 780s stored away. Then I finish this diamond painting and I want to save them. I'll label the first bag. If this particular color happens to be off from the old one, I'll go back and label it 780-1 or 780-A, and then put the 780s from this project into a bag labeled 780-2 or 780-B. That way, at some point in the future, if you ever need them, you can look through the different shades. Like I said, it's not that common, but I'm sure if you save them, you will come across it at times. So I just wanted to show everybody how to go about getting started. Kitting up is what a lot of people call it in the diamond painting community. So if you see somebody say, I'm kitting up, they mean that they're getting ready to start a new diamond painting. So I just wanted to give everybody an explanation of that, especially for newcomers, because I know when I got this, these are, again, they're called inventory sheets. For the first time, I looked at it and was super confused. I understood that, the symbols went with the DMC codes. I figured that much out, but I didn't know what this meant until I asked. And this column is just the number of diamonds that you're supposed to have in total, but you kind of just have to trust the process on that one. Again, if you find that you run out or whatever, there's different places you can go to find them. So I just wanted to give everybody a brief overview. If you have a label maker, sometimes you can find some of the symbols, but I don't have one and I just prefer to write them on myself. And again, where I got these labels on Amazon, I'm going to post the link below. So I saved the ones from the previous project that I already wrote on, and then just write the new ones for the following project, which helps save some labels, and it takes a little bit less time. So thank you for watching, and I will be posting more videos shortly, so stay tuned. Feel free to like and subscribe, comment below if you have any questions or comments. And I'm also going to post the link to my Facebook group in the link description below so that you can join. And also ask our entire group. I think we have about 2,500 members, so there's plenty of people from beginners to experts in there. Feel free to join, and thanks again for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye.